Excuse me. Sorry. Arnold actually just set this up in the corner.
System is supposed to work, you know. $6 million, however many, we don't even know. There must be a network system by which facilitates converting them into contracts. I mean, there's so many things going on. You wouldn't know it by reading even newspaper publishing things.
Be careful.
Used to be 2020, it's not 2020. After the lockout, you still don't even know right over here.
Oh, that's not your bag.
The black bag right here. The housing crisis in 2008. The housing crisis in 2008. I don't know. What triggered it? You don't even know. Because there's nobody to come out and say that.
What are you going to do? Look for a name on
It's a separate, it's
Right there.
so hindsight's
Right
not even
there.
20.
that would be the very
This bag doesn't belong to you. It's okay.
We come here and do our little bit.
The volleyball in the very corner. Somebody will come in. Like sometimes people
But it's really about
That is so good.
Delegates choose the chair.
Don't worry about it. You make films and videos.
Yes.
films I made for Hollywood films.
I don't know about
It's been 40 years doing
the right thing.
things are real stage.
It's not really.
No, I'm up there. I'm in a different meeting or something.
You're not gonna stay?
No, I'm here, but I'm doing something else.
Sell your car?
One of the other offices.
No, I'm asking, did you sell your car?
Oh, yeah, I did.
That was fast. That was the no
Yes,
debt.
someone said no.
What did the Democrats do? Democrats that are really Republicans. There's no name because there is no such person. There is no name. But conservative Democrat, there is no name. Pretending to be Democratic. So I believe they just take your views. But you can try with
So I can't go out and go out until next week. They're reprinting those 10,000 copies. This is, okay, we got the rest of it now. So it's stressful. Like, can't do right, but you know.
I know why, because I was out there with the Monday night too.
Christian leaders who stand up and say,
Everybody does.
You've got a certain way of making it. Right? The legislature started organizing that. That's a guy named Sean Terry. He's
1956, he did something called the Johnson Amendment.
everybody.
No idea. You know the ins and outs of
Or you lose your tax exempt status.
That's free.
All the churches went,
I'm sorry.
your tax exempt status is worth more than the That's the bill now. They want to House bill right now in South House bill 5035. Specifically defines terrorism as activities that appear to be intimidate groups within the civilian population based on the group's race, religion, color, sex, age, national origin, or sexual orientation. The crime of material or financial support of an act of terrorism. So,
Where's
my gavel?
you say that homosexuality is wrong. You are in fact If you go to that church and tithe, you can fish. Once a year.
I'll take that.
This house, South Carolina House Bill 3035.
Good morning. Sorry I'm late. I had to get donuts.
Supporting a pastor who preaches
I
against
know. I
homosexuality.
ratchet up. So the more than you guys ran Jeff away.
Can I not?
She'll
Wait,
ask
so
you
we're
if
actually,
you
I guess,
all right.
since we're live streaming this, and I wish I had a drone to take like a picture of the parking lot and like send it to the right.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, I took your chance.
No, I'm sitting there.
That's why we go and get his tickets.
Well,
On that side.
he's over there. Right.
Madam Chair.
Right. Well, okay, so I'm sorry I was late. I had a good excuse. I was sending an invitation letter to Mayor Knox White because part of our job is to support candidates. So next Friday, at our first business meeting, we're going to have our mayoral candidate speak. So yes, Joe Friday. I don't know. But I invited him.
She said Friday next
I was sending an invitation letter. We're doing our part.
And I want to make sure everybody knows we are live streaming this. So if you're concerned about that, get in a different area. Don't ask the questions until after we're done. But just be aware that's what, we're going to do that because I think there's a lot of people that want to see what we're doing around the state and it'll help motivate them to do things. There's some people that don't come because it is too busy. So we're going to get there, so we'll take up a hat for not building a tent or whatever.
Right. Well, speaking of around the state, so I don't know, how do you get? Go ahead.
But Jeannie has to go first.
Scary Jean.
I don't want one of my faces.
Right.
It's on my-
What do you need?
Oh, it's already on?
Right.
Is it on?
I can hear you.
I'm gonna ask her this.
We can't, it's not working.
I'm going to ask her this question. Okay, first of all, I wanna welcome everybody. And I
Welcome.
know there's 3 people that are new at the coffee,
Where are they?
and then there's 4 people.
All right.
Please raise your hand.
Welcome.
Oh, we'll find out.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, today we're gonna use an icebreaker, and you might want to whisper.
Where's the other 3 people that are new?
Who else is new? Oh, well,
Okay, great.
Marines. We don't let Marines in.
Okay.
It's a big, longer joke.
You might want to whisper this. I want you to turn to the person on your right, or if you have to, your left, and ask them, do they dress like the opposite sex they are in secret?
No.
Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you guys hear? Is it any better? Hello?
Your voice,
Okay,
Jerry.
okay, good. But, no, Jeff just mentioned other counties wanting to see what we're doing, and I just wanted to ask if anyone saw the posted Courier article about Lexington County this morning. It was a really good article. So Lexington, they're friends of ours. Pamela Goodwin is the chair, and so it was really a nicely done article, but the most interesting point in it was they said Pamela was quoted as saying she wants to hold elected officials accountable, and the Post and Courier made a point of saying, but she did not talk about how she was going to do that. She didn't talk about a process or way for doing that. So that was their criticism. The other nice part of the article was that they did not mention one of the Lexington people that was sort of a problem, and I think many of you know who I'm speaking. They didn't. I was actually grateful. So it was, if you did get a chance, take a look at that and see, just to kind of see how they talked about it. Of course, it's, we are all considered far right wing, I mean, it's, they just, fall short of, talking about what is it, alt-right, but anyway, so that's sort of the tone of it. And there was a plea for the moderates. The disappointing part was there was a statement that Joe White, who is one of my favorite representatives, actually supported Drew McKissick, according to this article. I don't know if that's true, but that's what the article said.
I think Newberry voted for it.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
Newberry voted,
But this was Lexington?
well, Newberry is where Joe White's from.
I got you.
They have 8 delegates, 1 was for McKissick, 6 for Warren,
Okay.
1 was for Cox.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, somebody told him not to vote for me.
Okay.
That was obvious.
Yeah. But anyway, that's a good article. The other good article that, or a good piece of news actually came from Joe Dill, and I don't know quite how to find this. Somebody may be more adept. I couldn't do it. But he said there was a church he said on Gallagher Radio, which is, I guess, an early morning on the Word. He said there was a preacher in Dallas, Texas, 15,000 member church, and he apparently got up and took a very strong stand against all of the LGBTQ mania, basically everything that's going on. And he was told, and he said his congregation was 100% behind him, and he was not worried about losing any funding. So, I mean, this is a big church, and he was, actually getting on a lot of his colleagues for not doing the same thing. So that was very good news. So, yeah. And so then the other piece of good news was, well, not good news, but a good article on what Tony has been texting me about all week is this tax increase. So Fox had an article on that. And I guess we're going to talk today about what statement we want to make about this big county, I mean, to me, the irony of they want to build this palace, and brag about having London landscape designers do this palace, and then all of a sudden you can't cover your salaries, I mean, how do you justify that? So, yeah.
Or raising our taxes.
Right, exactly. So, and then just lastly, some committee updates. So Harrison, I think, has a great idea. He wants to actually split the legislative committee into 3 pieces, and so which would be local, state and local, like this battle we're getting ready to fight, and then local, then state, and then federal. So there'll sort of be 3 little subcommittees or 3 areas that people can get involved to work under that. And so the task that he wants us to take on is, start to actually draft legislation. So for those of you that attended the committee meeting or heard it, we talked about the fact that there's 2 components to legislation. It's the part that's already in process, it's in committee, or, that's really trying to following the track. Or then the other part of that is legislation that we might want that doesn't exist. So he says he'd like us to do no more than 5 pieces, and then starting around September when they're coming back, we would try to find legislatures to sponsor them. So I think it's a great idea, it's a good learning exercise, and it's what happens, but then, so we know how to do this. I think, I'll give Jeff a chance to talk about, because I think he and Olga are will do this, what was that, Sesame Street, how a bill becomes a law? So they will be how a bill becomes a bill, with maybe walking us through the details of the PACE legislation. So you're gonna talk about that, Jeff?
Well, I mean, and we'll get into more detail with it later, but I think what we're gonna do is use what our experience has been with the school choice bill and go where it comes from start to finish. We're not finished yet. We're halfway through, or through the Senate, and we gotta get it, through the House this next session. But, where do you start? Everybody always wants, they need to fix this, they need to do this, they need to do that. Well, how do we actually do that? Somebody has to physically write it down. You have to have a bill, you have to have it written in the language. You just can't tell your legislator, I want you to do this, and expect them to do it. Because a lot of them, especially with where we want to go, is we want regular people in office. So we don't want necessarily lawyers or lobbyists and all that kind of political consultants. We want regular people. Well, how do we support those folks? How do we support it? Because if it's not coming from we the people, it's coming from a paid special interest or a paid lobbyist, that type of thing. So we need to be able to provide the support for these legislators to say, hey, this is what the people want. This is the voice that I think needs to come out of the party itself. It needs to come out of your local county GOP, and it needs to come out of the state GOP, as opposed to what Drew McKissick was saying. We're just we're just about fundraising and getting Republicans elected. How about we focus on getting the platform implemented? Because that is what the mission of the South Carolina Republican Party is to support the platform and elect Republicans that will enforce it. Okay, so we're going to talk about, we have a few extra ideas of drafting the legislation from scratch. The school choice bill, I took and looked at some other bills, the current language that they had, some bills and language in other states, and actually wrote it up. And then you got to go and get people to support it. Now, obviously, the legislators, once it started moving, they all want to rip it apart. Everything's wrong, So, but that's, it's like to watch them call it wrong when it was the exact same language that they had written before. But that's what they're going to do. They all feel like they have to have that part. But if you have an issue or something that you want to get implemented, let's draft the language. Let's provide them and say, hey, this has been vetted, this has been supported by these people and these different groups, and let's get it passed. And how do you do that? And that's going to be a little bit of a process, but we definitely want to do that because we want to implement that. The other half of what we want to do is we're talking to other counties around the state. You see the numbers. I mean, we sent out this about how close we came to taking Drew McKissick out. 16 votes. He this is the co-chair of the Republican National Committee. The national one, the big one. He only survived by 16 votes out of 940 or 36. So, we're there. We needed to walk in with one other county, and we would have taken it all. Next time, in 2 years, we're gonna walk in there with 10 extra counties, and it'll be 75, 80%. So, I think everybody knows that's coming. And to me, a lot of people have talked about it, but to me, it's it's the same amount of work, same things we have to do. We need to organize, we need to get our big counties working on adjoining counties, just like we talked about with precincts. If you've got a good precinct, you need to be working with the precincts around you. We're gonna start doing the regional meetings up here in Greenville soon, maybe even next week with some of them. But certainly from the reorg perspective, Greenville needs to be focusing on, and I'll call them out, Spartanburg.
Right.
Spartanburg is a mess over there. We've got a lot of good people over there. They just need some help and some guidance. So we're actually talking right now about doing some joint meetings closer to the Spartanburg border, maybe over at Scruffy's with what they're doing with Rhino Hunt. We can meet over there and make that an actual, meetings about reorg number one, help Spartanburg get organized, and also focus on some of these legislators. Because how are we gonna get anything done, unless we have our people, real citizens, real Republicans, real conservatives, sitting in those seats that aren't gonna be beholden to the money special interest, then there's no point. So it's gonna be really interesting what we're gonna do here going forward, because of the June 2024 primaries, and then the next reorg, and then the legislative initiative. So that's kind of the big three things that are out there.
Exactly.
So think about that, the ending result, reorg 2025, and that convention will be the culmination of that will be a massive celebration. That will be a culmination of everything we're gonna do between now and then. But between now and then, we've got a mayor's race here in Greenville, and that, early voting starts next Tuesday. Is it Tuesday or Monday? Tuesday. We've got legislative stuff that'll start next January, and we've got to do, a lot of that work happens in the off season. We got to be prepared. So January, as soon as they go back in, we can hit the ground running. And then we obviously have the presidential preference primary stuff that's going on. We've got the June 2024 primaries. And one of the big things Amon's doing with her countdown, we have 529 days until the November 2024 election.
And thanks to Dave, he brought it in. Dave Wilhelms was the genius behind that, and it's great. So every communication I send out is gonna have that, and I think Joe's race is gonna be a great one because, first of all, these people are playing defense now. So it's gonna be a different lay of the land than when we started out, because they were very comfortable. And I think an example of that is this so-called minority outreach group that they've started up in Spartanburg. So, they had one initial meeting, and then I got a contact, and I found out the person behind it. She's this rhino white woman. And but No, but she has been tasked and she's identified, no, it's serious, you got to laugh. But it's two, so she's been tasked and she's got two young, black guys that are talking about how they want to become Republicans, but it's just, more defense, as with Knox White, posting pictures of him out, knocking on doors. I mean, he's not had to work, and I think they are much more aware of us. Jonathan Hill, I mean, you look at him, he's somebody that we thought would have been on our side, but you look at how the position he's taking, defending, let's go Brandon Newton, after that convention call, behavior. So.
And I don't know if anybody would support what Brandon Newton did.
Right, that's
at the
exactly
convention.
right.
I mean, he hammered down, they were scared to death, and he implemented, it was very Stalinistic in that respect. But then to see someone defending him.
That's right.
Like, we're wrong about stuff. We should have been more organized. We should have done stuff.
We should have.
Like, okay.
Exactly.
As opposed to Brandon Newton should have had a fair and balanced Robert's Rules, a coordinated convention.
Or should have not have been there, because clearly Brandon Newton is the same person that Harrison and Barbara Arthur and I met with in Columbia. He was the one that actually brought, I think it's 4066 is onto the floor, which is essentially designed to limit this number of state delegates to the county convention. And their whole rationale was, well, there are not too many places in Columbia that will hold the number of people if it just keeps growing, and we don't want to give the Potters money. It's just the most ridiculous, reasoning for it. Yeah. But anyway, so he's clearly Drew McKissick sycophant. So so why on earth should he be in charge of a convention that should represent everybody? So.
Right.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs to sit there and say Columbia can't house 2,000, 3,000. To me, the convention, whether it's the next convention or whether it takes taking them out so we can have a real convention, should be at the Carolina Coliseum. The convention is on the floor, and you got 10,000 people around the edges. I mean, you can't have disorder; they got to be lit, but it needs to be like a big. I mean, it needs to be a rallying point. We need every Republican that wants to see and figure out how this works, getting involved and coming to that convention. There's no reason there's not 10,000, 20,000 people going down, they do it for a basketball game.
Right.
Why can't we do it for an SCGOP convention?
Right, but there is a reason, and the reason is I have not verified this, but one of our good BFFs said that there was a 20-year-old article talking about Drew McKissick as a protege of Karl Rove. And what he said, the article said, was that Karl Rove's strategy to win elections was to go in and agitate the Confederate flag people, to go in and agitate, Christian conservatives, agitate them, get their votes, but you do not want these people in the party. So that basically was their strategy. Because they said that is not, you want their votes to win elections, but you don't want their way of thinking. So to recognize that and to think about, that goes back to what, this is 20 years so 20 years, that's how this party's been operating, and we see the evidence of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they keep it, but it's just basically what you always said, keep it small and control it all, Keep it small from a point of people who are involved, just use us, the way they use us, it's like, somebody used the phrase tax cattle. We're basically just provide taxes and votes. I mean, that's all they want from us. So it's very tragic, but.
But I mean, that is true, because our first meeting, what got us involved in this was, other than the school choice piece, is after the 2016 election. Trump had just won. There was a ton of people interested, and we, Presley and I and some other people, went to Nate Lloyd, who was then the current chairman of Greenville, and said, hey, let us bring in the Tea Party folks. Let us, we got a lot of activity. Let these people, they didn't want to have anything to do with it. Now, they want us agitated, they want us to come out and vote, but they don't want our way of thinking, they don't want us involved with the party. But our way of thinking, I think, is the vast majority of it. It's conservative. And all those things I've learned are things I learned, from them and from all these different groups. And I'm like, it's the platform. We are platform Republicans. We aren't right-wingers. We aren't Q. We aren't this. We're platform Republicans.
That's exactly. That's a great phrase. And that is what we're going to use. That's why, we talked about it at the committee. That's, when they asked Pamela Godwin what she was going to use to measure these people, I would have said, how do they vote? Are their votes in the legislature consistent with what the platform says.
Yes.
And it's very easy, you don't have to have a lot of fancy analyses, we don't have to be a, big corporation that makes a, business out of analyzing this. It's are your votes consistent? And back to this issue of moderates, with Katrina Shealy complaining, that there's no room, these people don't want moderates. If she wants a party of moderates, she needs to go and write her platform, and then she can be the moderate Republican Party. That's not what the platform says.
Yes.
I mean, it's not rocket science. If that's what she wants, she needs to either be a Democrat, or they need to and if they can't, if obviously they didn't have the power to get the Republicans to agree on a moderate platform. So they just need to,
Yeah, this is what she said in that article
Yeah.
that Yvonne is talking about. Her quote said, "We are no longer a true conservative, moderate-friendly Republican Party that can welcome every candidate and give every candidate a chance." That was Senator Katrina Shealy from Lexington. Her quote about, I guess, what's happening in Lexington, Greenville, that we just want to
Could you read that again?
real.
Read it again, louder.
Oh, you wanna read
Can
it?
you use the microphone?
Take the money.
Use the microphone.
Because we can hear you in here when you do.
You can?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now, Jeannie? All right, where's your quote? This is Senator Katrina Shealy. She's one of the 6 Republican senators that voted against. She's part of the sister senators, but she also voted against the 6-week fetal heartbeat bill. So I mean, and that's what we put out the other day. I was like, I can, I can understand. I don't understand, but I can hear them say, hey, conception. I can hear them saying that. I cannot hear or excuse 6 weeks. Now, we need to be getting rid of them until they go to conception, but the fact that they were the only 3 Republicans that voted against this is amazing to me. But this is what she said: "We are no longer a true conservative, moderate-friendly Republican Party that can welcome every candidate and give every candidate a chance." I mean, why are we moderate-friendly Republican Party? We're not, I mean, if we are a Republican Party that is about the platform.
Right.
Yes.
If the right to life is our platform, then we need to hold to that platform. It was the rhinos that created the platform in the first place.
Yes.
They feel good about themselves. Now they're sitting there not wanting to defend the platform. If you want to change the platform, change the platform. Now, life, guns shouldn't be that confusing either. I don't know. None of this stuff should really be that
Exactly.
confusing. Our personal issue, obviously, and I bring it up all the time, is the school choice stuff. There is nothing controversial about that. There is nobody on the other side of that except leftist liberals that only want public schools. There is nobody. Every Republican I talk to agrees that the ESA run by the government is not the right solution. That it's a bag of garbage. But that's where I get it doesn't matter. They're not putting even the simple things through. So if we can't get the simple things, what hope do we have with real issues that do have controversy? And what's going on here in the county, they're trying to increase taxes while they got a Taj Mahal down there.
Right.
Did they not know that this Golden Palace was going to be expensive? They knew that. They knew it at the time. There were some of us that spoke up against it. Sell the whole darn thing, off to the private sector and go move into one of these bylaws that is closed down.
Right.
Because that's actually what it was in the first place. That was an old mill or a shopping center that they moved into. Great financial deal. Why don't we do that again? And in 20 or 30 years, it'll be another, financial deal, as opposed to building that palace if somebody want to put their name on it.
And bragging about using the same landscape designers from the UK that the Apple Ring used. I mean, I think that's nauseating to me. That is not a positive thing. And to Jeff's point about school choice, another thing I wanted to mention I heard on the news, Bill Frady coming in, was, so to me, education is like the school choice is like kind of a tip of a big spear, because the whole education arena is just one that has been taken. I mean, there are so many, problems in that whole arena, beginning with, we were talking about this feminization thing of how it's hard, you don't find male teachers like you did anymore. And how, Dan Healy talked about, his son, 30 suspensions, so it's just this attack of men. But, the other, because so Target apparently has partnered with a company called Gleason. And so what we gotta do is find out who funds these things, because this is an organization whose sole purpose is to promote the idea of children in public schools keeping gender transition information from their parents. Now, the idea that organization even exists, but like Bob Federley said from Pickens said, he said, we're upset about drag queens in our schools, but we need to ask, can you hear me, Jeannie? Oh, microphone, sorry.
Can't even hear.
Okay, sorry. Is that better? Is that better? Okay, is it better? Anyway, you're upset about drag queens in schools, but we need to think about who paid that drag queen to drive from New York to Greenville so where's the money come from that's behind things like Gleason or that?
I heard last night it comes from Bill Gates.
Well, part of it probably does.
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yeah, exactly. So so that's part of it. That's I think people are doing a great job. Pat ourselves on the back. Target's feeling the pain. Bud Light. These companies. But how do you attack these NGOs? That's the other problem, because it's not like we can go and pull our money from them. So that is a huge issue. It is a huge issue and it's not just Bill Gates, it's all of them that are using that money to try to,
destabilize.
Exactly, and set up their own world order, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Tell them what Dan Healy's son. Dan Healy's one of our precinct DCs, he's also on our Sergeant of Arms committee. He was having, a lunch yesterday with his son, or one day this week with his son. One of the other kids sneezed and somebody said, "God bless you." The teacher said you couldn't say that.
Yeah, that's right.
They're not just waking up someday saying you can't say God bless you in church. Somebody is training them that way.
Right.
Somebody has allowed that into the public schools. And that's incredible, and it needs to stop.
That's exactly right. And Dan said, everybody asked on the chat, they wanted some background. So then that's when it came out that this particular school, I think it was called Wells. It's if I remember correctly, but it's a school that is known for this kind of behavior. It's dominated by this, and it's considered the school where, these people get away with all of this behavior. So if you have a kid there, you're under attack. And Dan had, complained, but he said his kid has gotten 30 suspensions. So they're retaliating against his child because of him speaking out. So again, this is a culture that's been bred, and how you attack it is just.
Where was that?
It's organized.
It's the school.
I don't know the name of the school.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Oh,
It's here.
It's in Greenville County. It's a Greenville County school.
exactly.
The teacher said you can't say God bless you.
Gateway.
Gateway.
It's a gateway. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Gateway is the name of the school. Sorry, I'm gonna break out Wells. But anyway, good to see you. But anyway, so this is why the education to me, and it's been one of my issues, because I think about, all of us, the activists like us, or people who homeschool, but you think about really poor kids that I think are even more of, they're just cattle, because their parents, typically are going to be, what's the big joke is all the black people wear masks still, and the librarians. Black people are the only one, because these are people, because they're more trusting and don't have the sophistication to challenge government, So these kids in poor communities are, they're just victims of this nonsense that they're being fed, and people make a lot of money. I'd love to be a high school principal these days, or whatever. The bureaucracy, what is it, when Scott and his wife did that movie for us, Whose Children Are They? Well, maybe it was some other group, but anyway, when we saw that at Camelot, and they showed you the stats on the growth in administration in the public school systems, as opposed to the actual the student body, which is not growing as much. But it's just another big source of cash for bureaucrats. So.
How can you bring attention to that kind of behavior? I know how the left does it. They get out there and they demonstrate. And the media focus on it. It may be about time that we start taking some of those tactics. We've been, in a lot of ways, we've been too polite.
We have, and they try to scare us off that we're being too aggressive.
Right.
That's what Katrina Sheila is trying to stop. Calling us right wing, that's what they're trying to do. So my theory is that we gotta get people in those seats.
Yeah.
Our legislators, the Republican legislators, are not gonna go push the envelope on this stuff. They just don't.
Right.
The left legislators will. They'll push it to the nth degree. They'll support each other. our side ends up is circular firing squad, and they're not willing to
Right.
do stuff.
Right.
And we gotta stop that, and we gotta, we gotta replace them with regular people.
Right.
And then when we get regular people in there, we gotta support them. We gotta give an infrastructure around those people. We gotta learn how to do the bills ourselves, so they don't
Right.
have to listen to the money special interests.
Right.
And in today's world, I'd be cautious about being more vocal. I mean, you look at what's happening with J6 people, and then you look at how people are being targeted, even ordinary people. I mean, even just ordinary citizens. So I think the better plan is to just try to, get our numbers together, just overwhelm them, vote them out, because I think anything else would be used against us. I mean, even little things. I posted something the other day on Facebook, and somebody commented, "Oh, great Russian ISP there." And of course, I don't have a Russian ISP, but this is, this is a, you gotta, I think what we have to start realizing is these are not, a lot of the people these are not normal people with different ideas. I mean, I think that's our fallacy, is we're just thinking these are normal human beings, they just happen to disagree. Some of these people are sick, there are some, they're clearly criminals. I mean, the other thing I heard was this IRS whistleblower on the way here. I mean, God bless these people that are coming out, because, this whole thing of the DOJ walking in and telling the IRS to shut down this investigation, and of this Comer denying, that he's, showing this FD 1023 form that shows the Bidens have been under investigation when he was a vice president. I mean, the idea, the arrogance of this. I mean, I said, if I was running the IRS and Merrick Garland told me to shut down, I'd tell him to take a hike.
Yeah.
Why is this such a mess that these people cannot do their jobs,
Because they're threatened.
I'm finally gonna go to a school board meeting, but I think in between now and when there's another election, if we all go to a meeting, or if we all get together and we see something like that, we have our own voice, or email these people. Like, McKissick and, the mayor not right, who's just ridiculous sometimes.
Right.
But also what I started thinking of too, someone will call your name, it's like, stop calling me names, I don't have to be defensive about it.
Right, oh yeah.
And I thought that was just, because that's what I think a lot of us tend to do, I know I do, try to explain myself, it's like, no, shut up.
And look, consider the source. I mean, I tell people
Can you
all the
repeat
time.
that?
She was saying we need to stop being defensive, and like when people call us names and then go, communicate with these people like McKissick or the school board. But the defense is important. I think is especially important. Consider the source. Do you honestly care what somebody like Joe Biden calls you? Do you honestly? I mean, seriously, if your self-esteem is that low,
Well, and I do the same thing with the establishment here in the state. Literally, there was I could get defensive about 1,000 different things they put on social media. There was one, and the one example I thought was great, somebody shared something about the convention, and it was on the Aiken County Republican Party, one of their Facebook pages. It sat there and talked about how Greenville had no integrity because we did not go back and re-vote because 2 of our votes were put into the Charleston bucket, right? So what happened is two of our people, if you're not aware of the story, 2 of our people sat, they didn't have enough chairs for us in the Greenville section. So 2 of our people sat on the other side of the aisle in the Charleston section. They voted, and when the bucket came around, they just dumped it into the Charleston bucket. We're putting them through remedial training.
We won't let people know.
Their nickname is now Charleston. So what happened is Charleston had 2 extra votes in their bucket, so they had to re-vote because it was obviously something wrong over there.
Right.
We had 2 less. So we had 88 as opposed to 90.
Right.
And we made the decision, don't worry about it. There were 2 votes for me, so I'm like, don't worry about it, it's okay. We're not gonna make everybody come re-vote, slow down the convention, do that.
Right.
And it didn't matter, the 2 votes did not matter. So we made the decision, hey, don't worry about it. This person, to slander us, make us look bad, mySCGOP look bad, Greenville look bad, we have no integrity because we didn't go back and re-vote. I can tell you exactly what that person would have written if we had made everybody re-vote. Jeff's so arrogant. Jeff wanted those extra 2 votes. Instead of 309, he had to have his 311, and he ruined everything in the convention. That's what these people do, and we've got to get comfortable, not getting offensive,
Right.
not give a darn. Are we doing right? If we're doing right, we need to focus on it.
Exactly.
Right. No matter what we do, they're gonna say there's some problem with it.
Yes.
We could cure cancer and then we'd be yelled at for putting doctors out of business. So that's the way, that's how it all goes.
And it was a funny story because it was actually kind of my fault, but Mark Benoit was the one who said, so the way they had the setup is we had our chairs and there was a row in Charleston, and initially our people were not sitting there. But Mark said, this is your row, you know, you have this row, and this is for your overflow. And so we had no people sitting there initially, but our two friends later moved. So I argued with Mark. I was defensive. He said, well, you're missing 2 votes. And I was just thinking it was maybe 2 rhinos that didn't want to vote for, you know, they didn't want to vote for, you know, any of the candidates, whatever. But I was like, no, our people are not there. And then they later came and said, well, we moved so we could be closer to the bathroom. And we didn't see the Greenville. It was a funny story, really.
Well, the one good news is when Charleston re-voted, one of the Charleston people came to me and said that I picked up 5 extra votes.
Oh, we keep voting until we get it right. But selfishly, you know, I mean, I wish it would be nice if Jeff had been at the state treasurer. Have him here because, you know, it's hard to handle this coffee and politics. You guys are a tough crowd, you know, so you gotta kind of do it. You gotta kind of, you know, tag team it, but no, and I think we need to keep the momentum, and that's what I was complimenting Pamela. Say it, but looking on the outside, I think a lot of these people who are such detractors that attack us, I think it's just plain envy. I mean, like I said at the committee meeting, I said the left's entire platform is based on the worst of human nature. Seriously, I mean, it's envy. So that it's also based on what? Addiction, you know, getting people, let's liberalize drugs, you know, let's make people addicts. It's based on sloth, you know.
Yes.
I mean, it just really is the lowest, you know. So it's not something you should aspire to, you know. So that's again where I said we should not be defensive of these people, you know, defensive. We should, you know, recognize them for who they are, and that some of them really are just seriously, you know, criminals. You know? Yeah, they're just serious. I mean, they are criminals. They happen to be in government. But if you think about it, people who are criminals can get in any aspect of society.
Yes.
You know, just because they call themselves a politician, you know, doesn't, you know, that's just the label they wear, so.
And Von's talking about the whole criminal thing, because I've been bringing that up as well. A lot of these people, especially people we deal with, maybe not even elected officials, but the people that we think or trust or read their social media and all that stuff, if you look into their background, a lot of times they've had criminal issues. They've had maybe juvenile issues, maybe more recent issues. You know, oh, I'm a recovering addict. I'm all about recovery. I'm all about having recovered. Some of them, there's a propensity to do things, and we have to. You can't just trust these folks just because they say it. And you know, when the last time you were arrested was in January of 2020. I probably shouldn't be listening to them.
You're right.
You know, but a lot of people listen to these folks because they're out there and they have a big mouth, and I'm like, you were arrested. You got a 4-page SLED report. You know, that's just in the state of South Carolina, and I don't know what goes on in other states.
Right.
But we got to stop. No, that's
Corey.
Corey Allen. Corey Allen Whittington.
Right.
You know, I've called the guy a couple times and talked to him because people keep telling me it was great, and I talked to him like, great, I'll call it. Won't ever return my. When people won't return my call, you know, it's like, you know, what's up? I mean, Brandon Guffey is a House rep out of York. He's sitting there putting on Facebook telling people they should not go to the York County GOP meeting because they voted for anybody other than Drew McKissick, or voted for us, or me. And I'm like, you know, what
happened?
What happened?
At the meeting, did you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and then you had 150 people there. It's the biggest meeting they've had in history. They normally have 50 people. And guess what? The other side, the establishment, Martha Blackwell, the former EC that got 12% of the vote, they scheduled their meeting the same night. Well, guess what? They did the same thing here in Greenville. When did they schedule the gym event and what's his name?
The Freedom Caucus?
Yes.
On the makeup meeting.
It was the.
Well,
Makeup of the
yes,
reorg.
on the makeup meeting, but they also, even over the past 2 years, they've been scheduling things all the same night as their Greenville GOP meetings. You know, Ben Carson, they had Ben Carson come here to speak the same night as the Greenville GOP meeting. I mean, it's obvious what they do, and it's like, it just doesn't work. So they try the same tactics, and you gotta watch, and you gotta understand what their motivations are. But, you know, of it in their background, I think there's some personality types. There's no litmus test of getting involved in politics. But the other the other side of it is too many people are interested in self versus service. There is especially when they do something that's unusual, try to figure out why this to happen. Why, just ask why, because some of this stuff makes literally no sense. And most of the time is they're more interested in themselves versus service.
Yeah.
We have got to get people involved in politics that are reluctant, that don't want to be there, that want to get in and out as fast as possible, that want to find their replacements. And most of these people, they look at it as a ladder. I mean, when somebody I talked to in Horry County, and they know where I have an issue with leadership in the Freedom Caucus. They're like, well, don't worry about them because Adam Morgan's running for Congress. How does somebody in Horry County think Adam Morgan or know Adam? Because he's been out there talking to people. He's about the ladder climbing, as opposed to doing what has he actually achieved? I mean, what has he actually achieved at the legislature?
And we are
he didn't
not
achieve school choice.
That's right. That's right.
And
we are not his development group. It is not our job. That is really not our job. We're looking out for our own interests. So when a Katrina Shealy says, oh, it's a place where every candidate should have a home, that's not what we're here for. I mean, no. I mean, they're just the arrogance of that idea that we exist to help make them successful.
Wow.
Speaking of, you want to talk about the committee, the survey that's going through, and how y'all are doing that?
Sure.
Because one of the things that we're doing, Bond's doing, is getting EC. We want to get the ECs and presidents in each of the 151 precincts, and just so you know, we've organized 140 of them.
Right, before we started with 90, was it?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, so 90 together.
What are the ones that haven't been organized?
I got the list. I can get you the list.
Yeah.
Maybe that Walden one's on it.
I don't know which one. There is one that was either a Simpsonville or Malden. It kind of surprised me. I was like, how could that not be organized? So we'll check on those. But for did not even know. If I had known which ones were not organized from the first night,
No Malden precincts unorganized.
it's one of the Simpsonvilles. And I think we had 2 people show up for that one, but neither one was listed as an EC.
What did you say? None of them Aldens?
All of them.
organized.
They're all organized. But I will tell you, we're going through and trying to clean up the P1 list right now. There's so many emails that are misdone. I mean, one precinct, the state party put that there were 2 different people elected to EC. So we've got to clean that up. Hopefully we'll clean it up next week. And we'll get all of our precincts, the list of everybody in your precinct out to you. And then we'll start working on those, getting the regions, so we get the regional people together and start doing that. So y'all can start working more closely together. But to get 154 organized, we could have gotten those other ones to reorg makeup meetings. They didn't have. That's what we're trying to clean up.
But they didn't even try to organize them either.
They didn't. No, they didn't try to do it either. So, and we're definitely 2/3 of the, if not more, 70% of the precincts or more America First. There's a few that slipped through that kind of surprised me, but we'll get there.
And thank you, Jeff, for bringing up the volunteers, because I was working on this Facebook post but got distracted. But what stuck out for me was at our meeting on Tuesday, there was no famous politicians there. There was no food. There was no drink. There was no entertainment. And all of those people, all these people showed up or watched it, online. And I said, that's really the spirit of what we're trying to do. And let the 4th District have all of this entertainment that they want. But I think for us, it's about a job that we want to do and do well. And so I think the committee work is really good. The one committee that we forgot, and I apologize, Olga, was we forgot Olga and Terry. We were supposed to have an office staffing committee so people can.
How about now a cat committee?
We do have 3 kittens born underneath the house. Headquarters here, so.
And now we feed them. And what are their names?
Well, you go ahead.
Freedom, liberty,
Justice.
and justice.
Can you tell them apart?
Yes, you can. Justice with a big white tie, liberty.
My gosh, that's so
But
cute.
Greg Peck had another 3 options. What were your 3 options for the names?
Uh-oh.
No, I didn't have, no, I
He denied it.
no.
What were the other options?
Sig, log, and trigger.
Yeah.
Sid,
Oh,
Trigger.
Okay.
No, and then we had Drew, Hope,
And-
Tabitha. No, we're not gonna say that.
I'm not gonna settle.
Yeah, we didn't want to do that to them.
But Olga just showed me, this is a response we got to an email at 11:42 today. This is who these people are. Now, we always emphasize be professional, but be persistent. Be professional, always be professional, okay?
Right.
Don't curse, don't bully, because they're gonna accuse us of this stuff all day long. But this is an email back from Andrew T. O'Brien Jr. Andrew T. O'Brien Jr., he has a Facebook page out of Aiken called the Aiken Leader, 310 followers. It says the Aiken Leader, your news source for the Aiken area. So Mr. O'Brien,
And
right?
he was on the list from Aiken GOP.
So was he a delegate?
He was not on delegate list, but his name came with the contacts for Aiken GOP.
So Mr. Andrew T. O'Brien Jr. wrote back to our email this morning, you people are as boring and predictable as your orange loser. Go the F, and he wrote it out, go the F away and take him with you. Who are these people?
Right.
Now, we got a similar email like that from Ellen Weaver's uncle. Remember that? Published that out? Using curse language. That's Ellen Weaver's uncle that did that. This is this guy, Andrew T. O'Brien Jr. Who are these people? We have to be better than this. This is what goes on in this interland out there. Why is he doing that? Who the heck knows? I got people mad at me that I never met, never talked to me. Jeff Davis for calling somebody out for not supporting life. I'm like, which one is it? So we the people of the state need to do better. We need to get rid of those folks. There is no unity with this man.
Exactly.
There is none. So don't seek unity with these people. What we have to do is we have to grow where these people are irrelevant.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, there's a ton of people like us out there that are just regular, good, wholesome, God-fearing American South Carolinians, and these people need to become irrelevant.
And others, these are people, it's part of that whole manipulation thing. So what do they? A lot of these people, they're trying to get clicks, they're trying to get eyeballs. For them, politics is a business. And I think that happens on both sides. They're not passionate about fixing issues. What they want to do is, they make it's a business for them. That's exactly right. So, so those people, they want to suck your time. We have some of those in the party. Jeff and Olga and I have gotten 20 emails from the last couple of days from people who claim that they have been deleted from the email list purposefully. So my response to them was, we need every, live body we can, because it's only 528 days. Why would we delete you from an email list if you have skills to offer? Well, this is the kind of nonsense that, they come up with.
Well, I found the solution to that.
Right.
And I've asked them if they've joined, i.e. paid,
Right.
or if they want to donate so we can hire somebody to set up a new email.
Exactly, that's
And
exactly
then
right.
they get real quiet.
Right, exactly.
And I think, I'm sorry, did I interrupt? We're gonna talk about the committee.
Right.
No, so we have a Google form set up where you can give us your contact information and indicate which committees that you're interested in. Oh, sorry.
So everybody can hear.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Okay. Is it working?
Can you guys hear her?
Can you hear me in the back?
Is it on?
I'll give this one.
Is it on now?
No.
It might have joined.
Is it on?
Okay.
pushing the button.
Hello?
Cause you have to talk real loud.
Okay.
Stand up and yell.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I'll try to be loud.
Hello? Oh, there we have
There
it.
you go.
You have to kiss it.
Okay. We have a, Google form set up where you can enter in your contact information, tell which committees you're interested in getting involved with, and if you have any special skills or experience that you're willing to share with the group. It's a quick form, won't take long. I've got a QR code. Set it up and pull it up. You can fill it out while you're here on your phone. If you prefer to receive it by email or text, I'll be glad to just see me at the end, and I'll be glad to send that over to you. I just sent it to Dave by email. And we'll get you plugged in. Someone will reach out. And Chrissy, is there anything else you want to share about the? It's just a really easy way for us to sort folks, and we can sort by precinct, we can sort by committee, we can sort by who has said they have office skills, Olga, that they can help with. So, and I'll even add that new committee.
Right. Yeah.
And I think with the legislative, maybe we'll break that down
Right.
once the committee meets and
Right,
figure
exactly,
out.
right,
Yeah.
because Harrison will take, but I just wanted to let
Yeah.
everybody know, because it's a good way for maybe people to add information on the survey that they wanna deal with a specific part of
Right,
legislation.
there's a couple of places where you can indicate, anything specific notes, that you wanna add. Is she trying to?
No, you're fine. Jeff can talk about one more issue, like something else.
Okay.
You know, yeah, it's, great.
Oh, that's all. Chrissy, do you have anything you wanna add?
I guess I would just say that, we're all here for a reason because we care, we're all passionate, we're all servant leaders. So please, just take the survey, indicate what's you're most passionate about, and so we can connect in small groups and really get stuff done.
Right, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you guys for doing that, it was great work, really well done. And
All right, then let me make an announcement. Darren sent this over. Do you want to announce it, Darren, or you want me to just?
Go ahead, you're in front.
I mean, it's incredible. Judge Halt, South Carolina, used stricter abortion law until state Supreme Court reviews. So it's already been stopped.
Right.
So,
Which is
I mean,
Say it again.
I'm
They
hoping-
halted the heartbeat, fetal
Right, so
heartbeat.
hopefully that gets appealed to the Supreme Court, and hopefully the Supreme Court undoes the stay, right? Isn't that what we were?
Yes,
Still
but I mean, how long would that take? Is this gonna take a year? Is this
Well, no, I
gonna
mean,
take
I'm
a
hoping
month?
within a few days.
You think
It will
so?
get appealed to the, because they shouldn't stay it until they, that's what happened last time.
Mhm.
But it took 7 weeks for them to stay it, so it was in effect for like, Darren, wasn't it like 7 weeks
Yeah, 7.5.
last year? So, I mean, hopefully, they'll undo this, I hope, we
So you
pray.
think it'll be quick?
I don't know, I mean,
All right.
does anybody know?
No.
Who was the judge?
Well, contact
Does it
Alan Wilson,
say?
because he's the one that has to defend the state law, right? So he's the one that needs to undo, get it appealed to the Supreme Court, and now we have a new Supreme Court justice, and hopefully they will Parenthood sues, right?
Was this another Democratic judge?
It was by Judge Clifton Newman.
Is he the one that was just appointed?
I don't know. I know that name. I don't know Judge Newman. I think that's the same, is that the same judge that did the Murdaugh murder? Judge Newman? 'Cause I think his daughter's a judge too. So I don't know. I'm not sure exactly. But it was Judge Clifton Newman.
But no, the process is a judge states it, then it has to go to the Supreme Court.
Right, but it depends on how long it takes. I will tell you that a judge stayed the ESA bill a couple of years ago, but it took 6 months, for the Supreme Court to rule that it was unconstitutional, so.
I don't think it's gonna take that.
I
Okay.
think we can email the Attorney General and call the Attorney General's office and say, act on this now. Get this
Right.
thing on state, get this thing to the Supreme Court,
Yeah.
Exactly.
right? Because this is like a big deal.
Oh, exactly, because,
Very
yeah,
big deal.
exactly.
Will you send that out, Carrie?
Yeah. Well, I think that would be a good thing to do, so sure, I can send that out.
Okay.
But you're right, I mean, I think they knew this was gonna happen. So there's 5 justices on the state Supreme Court. One, it was a 2-3 vote, not in our favor last time. One of those judges is gone, so it's been replaced. So we now, hopefully that new judge will be part of the 3-2 as opposed to 2-3, and hopefully it'll be, so maybe we're just reacting a little bit too, but we'll, we'll see. We'll give it a little time, but.
And one more point around the surveys, there's an additional surveys for ECs, and presidents about, the work process and sort of measuring. And those of you door knocking for Joe Farmer, that counts. So that counts around your goals if we agree that we're gonna try to measure ourselves. Because again, this is the kind of work that you can't save it to the last minute, I mean, we're gonna have all of the contacts that we need. So this is just it's kind of the Weight Watchers model, where if you have to report and say, and weigh in, it kind of keeps people more accountable and you stay on track better, so hopefully we'll get a positive response around that.
So far we have. So far they're willing to.
Okay, great. Okay, that's great news. And then I think Linda had something, I want to do this before we forget, the digital boot camp, digital privacy boot camp, Saturday, June 10th, 9:30 to 1 p.m., Horizon Church, and that's at 1070 East Butler Road. Veteran. Learn how big tech uses your phones and computers to spy on and monetize you without your knowledge. Learn how to remove big tech from your devices, applications, and systems. De-Google your own phone. Phone must be OEM in it, and explore alternative communications. So anyway, so I think this is a great idea.
And also the other event is coming Friday night in Greer.
Right.
At the Randall House on downtown Greer. And it's Mark Lee Dixon, and he's been in Texas, and he's part of why Roe v. Wade got overturned. Very interesting guy.
Right.
Very interesting work that he does doing sanctuary counties and cities for life. So with what just happened,
Right.
we still need to move forward with this effort to make Greenville County a sanctuary county for life.
Okay.
So you need to hear what he has to say. It's very, very interesting.
Is that on the events calendar?
Yes.
Huh?
It's on.
It's on there.
/events.
It shows the time and the address, but it's next Friday night, and I highly recommend, if you, at all possible, going, because it's just interesting to hear him and tell his story. He was also, I think, part of the idea in Texas, which is where abortion started, by the way, and where it ended up sort of being overcome with this idea of that private people can sue abortion facilities for abortions. So I think that was sort of his idea, and that's that kind of moved this forward. I don't know, he'll explain it, and I'm interested in hearing him again because it's just, it's very interesting. So I highly recommend trying to go to that.
So that's June 2nd, then we got that's a Friday, then we got June 10th, we've got this. Because what we want to do is be able to offer things that are not just political. It's not, how does it affect your life? A lot of what, how do we get involved in all those types of other things? And then, I guess Linda wants to talk about something really fun.
Right. The 24th is the prayer vigils.
Well, so that's the 1-year anniversary of Roe v. Wade being overturned, and we're thinking that we're gonna have our group go to the abortion facility, and Dylan and I are working on this, to pray with Love Life, which is a ministry out of Charlotte that's now around the country. And so it's, totally up in the air, but it's possible now that they will have tons of traffic, but if we can get the Supreme Court to unstay it, they'll have less traffic. Likely the pro-abortion protesters will still be there. Likely it's still gonna be opened, even with Heartbeat, there's still people going to the abortion clinic. So anyway, it's a prayer walk. We may not announce it on the website just because of the pro-abortion protesters. We want you all to understand you do not engage with them. We don't need any violence out there. Do not let them upset you or irritate you or intimidate you. We just need to pray. We be quiet, we don't engage with them, we don't talk to them. If they're all going crazy and blowing horns. Okay. And so we're hoping, a nice group of people can come out because you will learn a lot. It's very interesting. We start at the church down the road and you can pray there, or you can walk down to the abortion clinic, and Darren knows a lot more, so you might want to talk to Darren about it.
Okay.
Well, what that is you're doing 40 Saturdays, right?
Yes.
Different groups pick a Saturday,
Right.
Okay.
and then at the end, everybody comes back for one day.
Exactly.
So it should be a massive one at the
In
end.
November, that's correct.
Yes.
Oh,
so
that's
But
a great
hopefully
idea.
it will shut down by then.
There's also 40 days for life
Yes.
that different churches.
Yes,
Yeah,
there's several,
they're
it's your
getting
constitutional
together
right to go
different
outside
days.
the abortion clinic and pray there.
Yeah.
It's a powerful thing to do.
You can do it by yourself, you can do it with one of the groups, and so, but we're offering the opportunity with Love Life, to go out on Saturday the 24th.
Okay.
And what's also going on, people are obviously pointing out these three state senators.
Right.
Katrina Shealy out of Lexington, Henry Gustafson out of Kershaw, and Senator Sandy Sin out of, some people like to call Sandy Sins a lot, out of Charleston. I think somebody's already announced against Sandy Sin. And I think, there's obviously people, and I know there's people for all three. All three of those will be primary.
So that's what we can be praying for when we go out, and it's 9:30, you wanna get to Grove Road Baptist Church. And I don't think we're gonna put this on the website just because it's kinda volatile, but ask me or Dylan or Darren for information, but 9:30, it's, 1123 Grove Road is Grove Road Baptist Church, you park there. We'll have a little time there first, and then whoever wants to walk down closer to the abortion facility can do that. It's about an hour and a half, so about 9:30 until 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, the 24th. Very worth your time. If you've never been outside an abortion clinic, it's something everybody needs to do.
But fill out that survey, what committees you might want to be on, and we want to plug people in where they want to help out, so, I think, Linda?
Okay. We have a fun activity coming up as well,
Right.
which is also an opportunity for us to go out and, share our Republican values and thoughts. It's the Greenville Drive game. It's Republican night at the Greenville Drive game on Friday, June 16th. And there's a QR code on these flyers. You can just scan it onto your phone, be able to go to the Greenville Drive website, the specific seats and sections that they have set aside for us. There are, 5,000 seats in the Greenville Drive Stadium. We'd love to fill them up with Republicans that night. You can wear your t-shirts, bring your flags, and, they'll pull some people out of our group to go down there and participate in the games and activities that they have going on in between the innings. So, we might push a few people out there to go be out front. The tickets are only $11, so it's very affordable for most people to be able to attend. And, call me if you have a.
Obviously, wear any,
Or your Trump
political
gear.
stuff, Trump gear, whatever you wanna wear, call it MAGA night, call it whatever.
Right.
And hopefully there'll be a lot of people we can go, that'll just be there randomly, we can
Right.
sign people up, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll have a table, or there's clipboards and that type of stuff, and, we've got some other groups and friends that are coming, so hopefully it'll be a good time.
Yeah, should be great.
Yeah.
And I include those with my Joe Farmer door knockers. Yeah, exactly. But, so other events in the hopper, one second, is, the pig roast.
Yes.
Pig roast and, with this, Elisa and Sam Chaney, so they are like New Orleans people, they do, like the little, not boiled, but something like a jambalaya, not a seafood one, which is seafood kinda gets
there's
costly,
chicken.
cause we had looked at that, so it's a chicken and sausage, so we've got that in the hopper, and, 2 movies, so it should be a great time.
And we're looking at a band tonight.
Right, so exactly,
Got you a picnic,
so,
entertainment.
yeah. Yeah.
Where are we doing the pig roast?
Well, that's where
We haven't
he's in charge of that, I don't
So
know.
we're working behind the scenes. It just
Right.
takes a few things to get everything
Right, get
in motion.
coordinated, so.
But if you got any ideas for events,
That's
things
right.
will be fun. I've been wanting to say we ought to go do a tour of, some of the, Rewa facility, or go do a
Right.
tour of the new building. Not that we like it, but we ought to go see it and know exactly
paid for it,
how the
might
new,
as well.
county building works.
Yeah,
A
that's
tour
a
of,
good idea.
I'd love, and we need to ask Ashley Trantham, maybe we can do
Yeah.
a tour of
Happy Cow.
Happy Cow
Happy
Creamery,
Cow, yeah.
tour of a
Talk about
business.
that.
If you've got
There
any
you go.
ideas like that, that you think would encourage us, people to get involved and know about stuff.
Right.
Let us know, and we would love to add it to the calendar.
Yeah.
So,
So it was Joe,
Where
so.
would they go for that idea? Where would they post that idea?
We just send it to.
just email
We send
along.
it to.
Terry.
To me, for now.
Yeah.
In the Greenville?
Come June 5th, it could change.
No, it will not bloody likely.
The Greenville
Just send,
GOP.
Just send it to me.
Terry, send it to Terry, she's
Just
the
send it to
best.
my email, yeah, because I'm events.
Okay, but I'm saying if someone just walks in and has never been here,
Well, I guess who's ever working in the office that day would.
okay, but I'm just saying, where do they find your email?
It's on the website.
It's on the
The
website.
GOP.
OP, yeah, I was there.
GreenvilleGOP.com.
Yeah, and we're trying to make that a landing, the website, more of a landing space for everything.
Right.
We talked about that in committees, because a lot of times there's a lot of information there, and it's sometimes easier than trying to call or wait for an email from someone, so. So, Joe?
Now for the fun stuff.
Now
For the fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Elections never end.
No, they don't.
All right, I'm Joe Farmer. I'm running for the mayor of Greenville, and we have an election in 17 days. What?
There's a lot of noise back there.
Now, years. Now, I think we all believe in term limits, and I think his term has limits.
Yes, exactly.
Doesn't he
Okay.
believe in term limits too?
And he, at one time he did, until he didn't.
Right, yeah.
He promised you, if you're old enough to remember
Yeah, I
him, that he
did.
would only serve 2 terms.
2 terms.
Obviously, he's running for his 8th. That didn't happen. So, what I need is 2 things. One, we are still playing this Facebook algorithm and we're winning. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Many of you helped out. I would ask, go to my mayor page, Joe Farmer for Mayor on Facebook, and make a nice comment. All right? We're not getting in anything negative, and don't criticize him. There's plenty of other people that do. You know, I've looked at his Facebook page. I've looked at mine. His is interesting. Make it.
What does that mean?
Nice comment.
The algorithms.
Yeah, the algorithms.
Okay,
If
good.
you get the sense in the feel of the community, people are ready for a change. Almost everybody knows that 40 years is too long.
Yes,
You know? I mean, look at the president. Hadn't it been too long?
yes.
Same thing with the mayor.
Right.
Been too long.
Right. Dianne Feinstein, been too long.
You know?
Oh, yes.
Way.
So,
The California people.
that being
know
said, everything has started this week. All right? Facebook ads started, mailers started hitting houses yesterday. You know, emails have been going out. Phone banking is coming in another week or so. Different things are ramping up. One thing that we started this week that I still need some help with is door knocking. I took the city and split it up into, first of all, Republicans that vote in primaries, because that's what we want. There's probably going to be about 5,000 people for a city the size of Greenville, but that's likely what's coming out. Republican primaries. From there, I printed it out. There was 5,500 households. So I printed 160 pages, which put about 30 households per page. And I took a page and wrapped it around 30 door hangers. So now I need people to take one of these packets and knock on 28 to 40 doors, whatever happens to be in that packet. And so they're all in a neighborhood. They might, if it's a lot of Republicans in that neighborhood, it might be one street. If there's not a lot of Republicans, it may be 4, 5, 6 different streets, but they're all in that one area. All right?
We're
So
doing
if-
it today.
Thank you, you're doing it today. So if you can take a walk book or 2 or 3, I would really appreciate your assistance, because over the next 17 days, we need to get to all these houses. And the more manpower I can get to do it, the less everybody has to do. All right, so when you get ready to leave today, if you would see me, if you would take one, I would really, really appreciate it.
Right. And I love this because I think this is really a test. I mean, the one thing, but I think where the rubber meets the road is being able to get candidates, and that's what we've been dinged on. You know, we're kind of like the Freedom Caucus, loud, proud, and ineffective, right? You know, when it comes, but you know, it's this whole issue of we gotta be able to. You know, we did have some successes on the school board, places like that, but I think this would be very high profile, and it would be really.
And I
great.
truly believe we're winning this.
Yes.
I truly believe we're winning this, because the sentiment that I get and what gets reported back to me from knocking on doors, there is really a desire for change.
Yes.
Every day I get texts from people that I don't know that say, I'm in, bring me signs. You know, I get Facebook messages from people that I've never met that's like, we're voting for you and I'm bringing my wife. I really believe that there is this huge desire for change. I talked with this lady yesterday. it was kind of funny, because she kind of got to me through a roundabout way. She is very, I don't know what the right word is, philanthropic in town. And she's ticked. This lady's 90 years old, and she has cut him loose. All right? And I'm like, wow, that's what we need, you know? So if you could help me out, I would really appreciate it. We got 17 days to go. We can do this.
But early voting starts next Tuesday. People need to go vote early, as fast as possible. Get them, if you know anybody in the city, get them to go out and vote. Don't wait till the last day. Don't do what we did last time. You know, the Democrats will get people out from day one, and they will hammer it every single day. We need to be hammering on people we know in the city to go ahead and go vote.
Where is
Thank you, that's good, but County Square.
So is that June sixth early voting?
No,
Oh.
May 30th is early voting. June 13th is election day.
That's the primary, when's the official?
That's
In
in November.
November. So we gotta get through this one, and then
Right.
we'll move on to November. But this is the only race that's on the ballot. There's no Democrat primary, and there's no other races in the Republican primary.
So they need to go in and vote for this one race. In and out, but they gotta get in there, and they gotta vote. The more people that vote, the better opportunity.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm dumb.
No, you're
I
not.
don't know
No, you're not.
Greenville, but a few of us are from Simpsonville, we're gonna knock on doors.
Yes, ma'am.
When I knock on doors, what should I tell them?
I got a script for you.
You do?
I got a
Okay.
script.
Is it online?
No, I got it, it's in the hard packet. I'm gonna give you everything.
Okay, all
I'll
right.
give you the script, I'll give you the addresses, I'll give you the door hangers.
Okay,
And the door hangers are pre-cut.
Yes.
I mean, I tried to make this,
Boy, you made it easy.
Right, very
All right,
easy.
that's-
we learned.
Yeah.
And it's
very
very,
easy.
the people are very
Yeah.
receptive. I met somebody yesterday who said, I know not, but he's not been taking care of me lately, so, you know. it's-
There's a big sentiment to that because of this zoning thing. It's upset Republicans and Democrats. Old Knox supporters are upset about it. I mean, there's a lot of people that want some change in the
If
city
you
of
see a
Greenville.
big red no zoning sign, that's somebody that will vote for me, guaranteed. Those two ladies there's two ladies that headed that up, and each one of them had different petitions being signed. One of them had 1,600 signatures, and the other one had over 1,000.
Wow.
And both of them are gonna use that network to help you.
Okay, so they're not gonna run themselves, because there was some rumor that they, one of them might.
Who's gonna do a ride-in?
It's too late, and B, I don't know if you can technically,
Okay, gotcha, okay.
I don't think.
because that's a party thing. I don't really think you can do that. 'Cause
Okay, gotcha.
when I file, I wrote the check to the Greenville County Republican Party.
Right,
And then it gets filtered on.
right.
But
They
you
can do
have-
it, you're right.
you
I
have
think
to
you
go
can do
through
it
the
right
party.
in November, but you can't. This is our primary.
Yeah, this is our problem.
So,
Can you still do something with that?
Yes, because
I got a vendor vendor on my way to the meeting, because there are a couple of questions, so I.
it's a good question. City of Greenville just redid all the zoning, all of it. Pushed it through. Well, here's what happens. They wanted to get this thing done at all costs, all right? They realized even after making changes to it, it's still not right. So in the version they passed this week, at 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months, it comes back up for revisions. So anything that needs to be changed, there's an opportunity to change it. So I've told the zoning people, make your notes, because there's opportunity to change it. I thought we should have delayed it, because if it wasn't right, why pass it?
Yes.
They're trying to build the airplane and fly it at the same time. I'm like, let's get it right, because why is the big push?
Somebody's got a big project and lots of money.
Yes.
Well, the old zoning didn't matter, and the new zoning's not gonna matter, because they didn't change the Board of Zoning Appeals. And those guys are developers, and they approve their own projects.
Exactly.
Are we gonna be able to
Seven-
meet here and talk about it, so because I was
We
reading the
can.
whole thing. I would love that. Yeah, 'cause there's something about the.
7 times in 8 months this year, the board members have approved exceptions for themselves. All right?
And what are they building?
2 of those they denied for citizens, and then a board member got involved with the project, and they went around and approved it. That board has got to go.
Right.
They have got
The county.
city.
By the city.
City.
Oh, by the
It's all
city.
city.
Okay, right.
These are appointed by the city. No, they're under the city council.
So our
Wow.
city council.
So our city manager, what can he do?
The city manager really can't do anything with the board, the city council approves it. The city council can remove them.
So it's our council.
Yeah.
Just like county council could have done something about the library board, they didn't. But they could have, because that's who appoints you.
Carrie.
So how much is the current zoning issue part of the smart city agenda?
Oh, it's parallel.
So, I mean, how much realistically, if you're mayor, can you stop that entire agenda for Greenville? Cause I mean, we're the first smart city in the world or in the country or whatever. Can you completely stop it?
It's too far to completely stop it, but you can change anything in it. So, you know, it's like having a title of a book. It's already printed, but you could change all the pages in the book. So that's kind of where we stand right now. The guts of it, the heart of it, where the rubber meets the road to it can be changed. But it's going to be there.
So you're gonna try to do everything you can to undo it?
Well, all you have to do is listen to people say, take that part of the code and revisit it. Nobody knows their neighborhood better than the people right there. My neighborhood, they wanted to make it so, I live in an older neighborhood, and way back in the 50s, there were these 2-level buildings that were apartments. And they've been fine. There's not a problem. They're older, they're not the most attractive, but they've been fine with the neighborhood. Nobody's ever had an issue with it. The way the new code was gonna be, if somebody came in, they could wipe those out and build 4 stories, which would double the density below the elementary school, and there's no major road in there. So we'd put, and we were like, no, you can't do this to our neighborhood because it would just overwhelm everything. Not to mention, in my neighborhood, all the water lines and all the sewer lines are 70 years old. We did get them to change that, but that's how it is. It has to go property by property by property. Okay? So I can't maybe tell you that, okay, the zoning code of MX3 is going to be changed to a different name. Probably not. But the properties that are labeled that can be put in any label that we decide where they want to be put in.
And what makes it a smart, I mean, isn't that infrastructure related, like with lighting and then,
5G,
also internet community?
yeah, all the
so-
smart products
Right.
connected and humans connected to the smart system.
Right, exactly.
And it's about roads and how they want to how they want to march, I don't say march, but how they want to concentrate things. So it's like, there's this area and we want you to eat, shop,
Right.
everything right here, not drive your car.
Right, right.
You know, there's a proposal now, and there's no way I'm gonna let this happen.
Right.
No way. They want to take Pleasantburg and Lawrence out where downtown airport is, and shrink the lanes from 12 feet wide to 10 feet wide.
No.
Now, you know how many 18-wheelers go up and down those roads?
Exactly. To the chicken place.
Then you 10 feet wide,
No.
and you have to ride beside those.
No.
Now, their idea is narrower lanes slow down traffic. To some extent, that is true. But narrower lanes, when you have that big a vehicle, also increase your collisions. Because at 10 feet wide, those 18-wheelers have no margin of error. They barely fit in that. But that's what's coming. They also want to put high-density apartments near the downtown airport.
They're insane.
And I said, apartments in the landing path,
Right.
and that, you don't realize how much that 300 takeoffs and landings a day.
It's one of the busiest.
It's busy.
It's busy.
And you want to put apartments in there? You know, so I mean, but that's part of that smart city stuff, is cram in more people to smaller spaces.
But the infrastructure part, like the internet, the 5G, I mean, who controls that? Because it's, I mean, you can say our neighborhood doesn't want it, but, you know, the neighborhood next door to it.
Well, it's all gonna be Wi-Fi based. It's not gonna
There's a
be
lot,
cable.
the answer is there's a lot, everybody has part in it.
Gotcha.
Okay? In the city of Greenville, there is to monitor those 5G cells. Okay? They have to have certain licenses, but then they also have to have certain leases with people who own buildings or poles or whatever.
Okay.
And so there's, and then they get to the federal government, so there's a lot of different pieces. It's
There's
not
a very
one entity. Yeah.
There's a lot of information on how unsafe 5G is to human health.
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of that monitoring thing.
It's
is to go out-
surveillance and also a way to mess up our heads
Yeah.
and our health.
No, it doesn't happen everywhere, but I do know already measured, verified.
What are you saying, Karen?
Well, I'm not pay grade, I don't understand it all.
I had another question. Is there anything you can do about the gay pride parade downtown?
Yes and no.
If you're not funded,
Yeah.
the funding is a problem.
You know, and you really have to look at exactly what's being asked for. And without seeing exactly what they're asking, it's hard to answer that question. It's like with any, you've got to look at what are they asking, and is it feasible, is it permissible, is it legal, type thing. Because some things aren't, and some things are, and you know, it had to be on a case-by-case basis. You know, it's just like when we have stuff down there, you have to get permits and meet
But they have the
certain
parade
things.
now, right? It's already.
No, we don't have a parade.
Oh, you don't?
I thought there
I thought there was something they were giving like 80 grand to or something.
Uh,
Or something, I don't know.
there's 30,000 of tax accommodation money to the group. But to my knowledge, that's not specifically for a parade. I don't know what it's for, because I didn't see any explanation. The only way I think you would know exactly is with the Hospitality and Accommodations Tax Appropriation Committee to get the application that was submitted. And that's not, to my knowledge, readily available. I've never been able to see it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You know, any entity that wants some of that, like Artisphere, they get a big chunk. But you have to fill out a whole application process and explain what you're going to use it for. 14, tell everybody you know to come out and vote. Anybody that helped me door knock, I need you to help me door knock.
Do you know the hours at the county square that they can vote ahead of time,
It's
early?
8 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Half day on Saturday.
I think half day on Saturday, and then on June the 13th at 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at polls.
But people need to go out and vote early. Get in there and vote.
Live in the
It
city.
begins on Tuesday.
If you live in the city and you're registered to vote, I need you.
So if you got a friend that lives in the city, contact them, make sure they get out and vote as soon as possible.
Make sure they vote for Joe.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Now they're fired up and they wanna vote, but they don't know where their poll is there something?
Yes.
You, all right, there's two ways. County Election Commission website. You go to mine, it just redirects you there. It was posted this week. I thought it was supposed to be 30 days in advance.
Greenville County.
It's there.
Name your website.
Greenville County Election Commission.
Farmer.com.
All right.
No.
And it would take you, because there are 14 polling locations, so some precincts have been combined. All right.
Because there's so few people show up, they keep
I mean, that's a reason.
So what restrictions, if any, are
Live in the
to,
city,
no,
live in
to support you, money-wise?
$1,000 limit.
Okay,
That's
from
it.
anybody?
From anybody, anywhere.
They'll take donations,
Not from China.
votejoefarmer.com.
Not from China.
Or Bill Gates, or Bill Gates.
Or Bill Gates.
Correct.
votejoefarmer.com.
Because I'm sure you've expended a few dollars.
Yeah,
More than a few.
Right.
Most important thing is to win.
Do we make it out to you, or how is that?
You can do it online. You can go to my website, votejoefarmer.com,
Okay.
and there's a button right there, and it just takes
Okay.
care of everything. It's easier really for me that way because it takes care of the reporting stuff.
That's what I wanted.
You know, because that's a big thing, and so
Yes.
I've got to do that this weekend.
But it's not being win money at university?
No, it's to, and it not because
Okay.
it's less expensive of a fee.
Can
They're not like.
can I ask you some, I mean, we're gonna go out, so is early voting only at University Ridge?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and how long does it go until?
It goes until the day before, so until 30th through the 12th, you can go to County Square. And on the 13th, you have to go to your polling location.
Okay, good, thank you.
Get as many people as you can to go to County Square before. I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep saying it, we gotta
And if
get,
you go to County
people need
Square,
to go vote.
You know, it takes you longer to walk in than anything else. I mean, if you go to County Square, you walk in,
It's
you
quick
tell
and
them,
easy.
and you do it, and you
Actually,
turn around and
I've
walk back
done it.
out. Yeah, it would take you longer to walk from the car in and back than it will vote.
And take a picture while you're there to make sure you have.
Yeah, you can post that all over Facebook.
Right, exactly.
Take a picture,
Of your vote.
people are finding out that their record, according to the state or the county, that they didn't vote. And so if you take a picture, you have a record through your iPhone or whatever, will have the date and the location and everything, so you have proof that.
So get your I voted sticker, stick it on your shirt, and take a picture.
Yeah.
And post it on Facebook and let everybody you know.
I think
know
they
that
actually
you
still
voted.
have a thing down there of.
Oh, yeah, you can stand in front of the I voted
Yeah.
thing and get a picture, it's even better, yes.
So do they open up a new building, are we going?
No. They told me it's still the old building.
Old
It's still the
building.
old
It's
building.
the old building, they didn't wanna move anything before the election.
Comment to woman about if we do something about the
Yeah.
record. Remember what the city council's mission is. It's equity, diversity,
Whose mission statement?
the city council.
Oh, yeah.
They just voted someone who's gonna be a diversity person.
What did they vote for?
Exactly.
EDI.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
DEI.
That's special.
Right, you can tell by Unity Park, the signs of rainbow. They said it was all about the black, families.
There is not.
And then they
To approve who they
barrel
hire
over
for
all their
personnel.
history.
They've got a person on there. I work
No,
for the
if
city
you
now.
think about it, a lot of this stuff is
DEI,
just more money, because think of the training. So when you come up with these kinds of initiatives, every school, every business, I mean, it's just money laundering.
Yes.
It all is just money laundering to certain groups, that's all it is, you know. But it's just, it's meaningless, you know, so, just a way to find.
Have any questions, open forum questions, thoughts, concerns?
Yep.
Something they wanna make an announcement about?
No announcement, but it'd be nice to get together and look over that zoning
Zoning thing.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, cause a couple things in it, having to do with the, green you have to have around, it says up to. But also this, they talk about diversity, but nothing says age, young or anywhere. So I mean, I'd like to understand a lot of what it says there, because some of it I didn't understand. Is there a way we can talk about it?
That's
So I'll know what to do and where could we do it? Can you send out email? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think the zoning people, and that's, you talk to Joe about it when you walk out, but I mean, it seems like they've been doing meetings about that
Okay,
stuff.
I'll do that.
I'm obviously gonna encourage Joe Farmer as the mayor to do his own politics and coffee about the city. I mean, he ought to wanna talk to everyone. Elected officials ought to be doing this. Why can't I go to Jason Elliott or William Timmons, or, you know, Lindsey Graham, and have an open discussion about what's going on, because they don't want to discuss it.
Exactly.
Anybody can come here and ask us any question they want, you know, but guess what, they never do.
And Cody, about the equity thing, there's a hypocrisy, because if you look at the left's platform, age is not, I mean, I remember this whole issue in San Francisco, there was a group called Critical Mass, and once a month Friday, they would shut down the whole city with bicycles. And my thought in my head was, what is an 80-year-old that has to get to the doctor or the grocery store gonna do on a bicycle? That's not their thought. They don't really care about young, you know, because if you're pushing abortion, you don't care about the young, and they don't really care. So it's very hypocritical. I mean, they put nice words on a lot what they say, but it's not really what they really mean, because you could look at it, you know.
You don't need to be paying for someone to have, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Oh, it
It's
is
not
ridiculous.
necessary, and they're paying a guy now to do that.
Yeah, but that's by design, because
Yeah.
you want, that just, you know, it's another point of influence, you know, for an agenda that most people, you know.
Don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure that's probably gonna teach them you can't say God bless you if somebody sneezes.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
That's where this stuff starts.
That's right. That'll be his job, to go around city council and make sure.
And then they'll start fining you for saying that.
That's exactly right, so, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tony?
When will our next county meeting be?
Monday, June 5th is the next county meeting. It's gonna be at the Hilton, back at the Hilton. So let's see which rhinos are gonna pay for it. And that's gonna be, this is in our bylaws, our county bylaws. That'll be the elections for all of those other chair positions, second, third, fourth, fifth, treasurer, secretary, and the 2 people from each of the 4 standing committees. So the way the standing committees operate is the executive committee elects 2 of them. Those 2 pick a third.
The chairman picks the third.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right.
Right, so we elect 2, the chairman picks the third, and then that group of 3 picks the 4th. And there is a timeline that we have to do it, so we have to have those elections. And so we hope to have a tight, you know, stick to the agenda with Joe and, you know, maybe Knox Mike speaking, and then do these elections. So Greg and I are gonna talk about how we stay focused and stick to the agenda and avoid disruption.
Right, because 2 years ago, if you remember this meeting,
Right.
this was after, you know, the reorg fraud and all that stuff. This meeting went to like midnight.
Yeah.
We're not doing that again.
No.
It's going to be Joe and Knox speaking.
Yeah.
Then we'll go into the elections, and that's what we're there to do. We're there to do business and move on, so.
So we're gonna shut down.
Your precinct EC.
Or their proxies.
Or their proxy.
Okay.
The automatic, there's the ECs, there's 140 of them, unless we get some more organized between now and then. Then the next person, if the EC doesn't show up, it would go to the president. If the EC doesn't show up or it can't show up, they can give their proxy to anybody that lives in the precinct. So we got a proxy form and all that kind of stuff to get out there. June 5th, Monday at the Hilton, starts at 7 o'clock, to get there a little early, especially ECs to go ahead and get signed in, so.
Did we talk about DeSantis? If all the events are on greenvillegop.com/events. Our phone was really off the hook here about the DeSantis event next Friday, so I put it out there for those interested in going. And then the baseball game, June 16th, we have sold probably, I don't know where Linda is. We would love to, yeah. We have a big section reserved for all patriots, so that will be fun night, June 16th, 7 p.m. I think. Hey Linda, do we get update on the baseball, how many tickets we sold? Or?
I haven't heard.
But everybody's a late buyer. I even went on and tried to buy them, I got all confused. But I know some other people, the system was like a little clunky to get there, but that's their system, so. Friday,
6 p.m. at the Greenville Convention Center.
Friday, 6 p.m. So
We're supporting it?
Well, yeah, are you going to go?
No, we're just letting people know.
Oh, so the 4th District Fag Club is doing it? Is that who's got it?
I think DeSantis is doing it.
I think
So,
DeSantis, yeah.
I don't know who's announcing it or whatever.
Someone looked at the tickets, they didn't
Next Friday, yes.
So that's competing with Mark Lee Dixon, so you need to make a decision between the two.
Oh, yes.
I would say go to Mark Lee Dixon, that would be my choice. I mean, you can watch DeSantis on TV. This is a local issue, this is about babies dying in Greenville.
What that is about is making Greenville County a sanctuary county.
Oh,
A
so the same
sanctuary
thing.
like county.
We have both on the calendar.
Yeah, you do, yes.
So.
And you know, maybe if you really wanna see DeSantis, go there for 5 minutes and then drive to Greenville. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, there's possible, because one's at 6 and I think the other one's at 7, so you maybe could, if I'm remembering correctly the time, but maybe, is it 7? I think it's 7.
DeSantis is at 6.
Okay, I think the other one's at 7, so you might be able to catch a little
yeah.
DeSantis if you really want to.
I just threw it out there so people know, not.
But I don't think you put the coffee and politics on for June, these are still continuing though?
Yeah. Okay, well.
Well, and Joe Dill is still working with, to try to get us a bigger space in the church, so.
Right,
that's
across
what-
the street with
So
the
is he
church.
working with you now?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, Joe's been great. Joe's done things, so he's been.
He's done stuff.
Yeah, Joe's got connections with,
Right.
that's, and he didn't tell us before he was interested in running. Maybe if he told us, we'd put him on the
Right.
slate.
Hey,
I was like,
yeah.
Tell us you wanna run.
He's
Yeah.
technically challenged, he admits to.
He didn't see the email.
Right, exactly. No, he's serious.
But Joe's been very helpful. If we have issues or concerns with somebody, he can reach out to someone. He helped us, he's kind of gonna head the prayer vigil thing.
Right.
Cause so what we did for the convention 2 weeks ago, Saturday, we're gonna do each month around the county. So on a Saturday morning, do a prayer vigil and then move it around
Right.
the county at different churches and try to recruit in other pastors to start participating in it.
But for right now, that's gonna be our contact church, he was saying, cause we're having issues finding other churches.
Well, and then this one, we mainly went for coffee and politics.
So if you have a church you think that might be interested,
Yeah.
talk to me or Joe.
We have
But did
had
talk
some
about
people ask their own pastors of the
Yeah.
churches if they wouldn't mind hosting it.
Just hosting it.
Just one a
Okay,
year.
tell me what I would say to my pastor, this is a prayer vigil for,
Just
Basically, our county, our state, our nation.
okay, and it would be on a Saturday.
morning.
A Saturday
Morning.
morning.
And it's Saturday they can pick.
Any Saturday they can pick, whatever the church has available.
Okay.
And, cause I was gonna ask, should we actually say the Republican Party? I mean, or just, cause it's open to anybody. You don't have to be a member of the party. I mean, you're praying for our country, our
Well, yeah,
state.
exactly, because that's what we were doing. Well, families, we
Because-
started out with praying for families, because
Families,
if you look
yes,
at
families.
the Christian hierarchy of how things
Right.
really should work, there's kind of God and then the family, so,
Family, right.
so that's how they organized that, the last vigil. So that's the concept,
Right.
is that you do prayers for all of those in this, but it's a way to bring in the elected officials, and again, I don't see why, even though we're the sponsors of it, it would be a big issue,
Big issue,
but
yeah.
people use that because, it's a defense mechanism
It
for
is.
some people, just to
Yeah.
avoid the issue.
Where's the church now that's sponsoring it? Right here.
Upstate.
What is the name
Yeah,
of it?
Upstate Christian Assembly,
Yeah. I'm gonna say that.
Upstate.
Christian
Assembly.
It's over here by
and
the
it's a pastor's Mark
WRD
White.
radio.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we are trying to work
It's
with
ready.
other churches.
Yeah,
It's
it's ready.
just slow going right now.
But see, to me, that's also a test. Ask a church if
Exactly.
they'll do it and watch them say no.
Yeah.
Like with this, we sent out, Drew McKissick did not give us contact information for the delegates across the state, 1,800, 1,900 people. He wouldn't release the contact information. They said, well, you have to go to each county and ask them that. So we had people ask every county. We could see which ones would do it and which ones wouldn't do it. Very few would do it.
Yeah.
So guess what? They have a higher profile of identifying them as being unfair. I don't really care. Here's the information. Will you send it out to your delegates? If you don't, they didn't even want to send it out to their delegates. One county said, yeah, we're informing everybody about Jeff Davis. Not in a good way. So, guess what?
Our friends at Lawrence County
Yeah.
said that.
So the church thing, is it just prayer meeting?
Yeah, that's all we did.
That's all we did.
Yeah.
Pray for the country, pray
Yeah.
for.
Who runs it? The pastor?
Well, I know, like, the first time we had the pastor of that church and then other guest pastors. So if
We
you're-
put the video on YouTube. So if
Yeah.
you go to the youtube.com/my
a pastor doesn't want to have it at the church, maybe he would like to be a guest preacher to come here for right now, just
Yvonne,
if he
Yvonne
wants to
opened
sit
it up,
out, yeah.
different pastors spoke,
Different
different
What
people
is the date
spoke.
of this next one here?
We don't know the date yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're still working on that.
Right.
But we'd like to do it every month.
So he's in charge, he doesn't, his committee doesn't have I told him to pick whatever name, but, you know, he wants, but Joe Dill has agreed to head that committee for us, which is good, because he has a lot of the connections, you know.
But again, if you know of a church or your pastor, reach out and let us know, that way we can
There's
get
a
connected
test
with
going
them.
on. Nobody's noticed yet about my shirt.
Oh, I'm Terry, we are.
Okay, I need your contact.
Well, I
It
wore
was on
this
the
shirt on
website.
purpose to see if anybody would notice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's
Stand
the
my eyes on
rhino.
it. It has a rhino. Nobody noticed. It was gonna be a prize.
It needs to be bigger.
Since it's 1 o'clock, nobody wins the prize. I get to keep the $1 million.
I'm sorry,
But, you know, Rhino,
The
that
Soros
reminds me of one more thing, don't buy Patagonia. Okay, so Patagonia, so Bill Frady this morning, we're what they support. It was keyed off the Target issue. Apparently Patagonia, which makes great equipment, it's a big, they actually contribute to Antifa. And I said, okay, say no more. And if Bill Frady says it, I'm gonna trust it because, you know, he's a public figure.
And there's another, North Face.
North
Face.
Yeah, exactly.
Is sponsoring LGBTQ.
Yeah, exactly. So we basically
Big time.
just, you know,
Big
so
time.
we got it.
You're out.
But just a
There's
reminder.
another one.
Yep.
We're all gonna be running around naked and short.
Run around in like sackcloth or
I
something.
know, right.
Yeah.
Get that parallel economy going.
Right, exactly. So everybody think about the committees running, and you were gonna say something?
I just wanna say something real quick. I have some business card of a guy that I met on next door. He's super great. And he has a painting business, so I told him I'd like give him a little plug here.
Wonderful.
He's the new president of FOP.
Agent,
So
Painting inside and outside. I mean-
inside and outside. So you know Mark, the photographer Mark, he's painting the outside of his. But he's been. Where I got him, like, yeah, Joe, well, where's the sign?
Oh.
And I pull up to his house, he's got the gold brand and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
But anyway, there's some on the table, but there's some here.
Okay, great.
And so I just wanted to
Oh,
spread
yeah, I'll
it.
take one of those, yeah.
Yvonne, hey, we can like remind everybody again now that we control the county again, that donations are accepted because of what the state did to us for.
Yes, that's what, if you go, I don't know if we're gonna put them out, but the membership sign up, greenvillegop.com/join. I love asking the rhinos that complain about not getting their email if they were gonna
Here's some
contribute.
membership form.
And it's like, nah, that'll shut them up.
Okay,
So-
I just wanna know where to send it.
And we
I
are
wanna know
gonna
where to
track
send the
that.
check.
We have
Yeah.
watermelon.
Jeff, in our goals, the precinct goals, we are tracking that as
Okay.
one of the things, so it's the voter contacts and as well as membership signups.
Okay.
And we also take donations.
Right.
Oh, that's a real good little in-lead there, huh?
Thank you, everybody.
But we are gonna track precincts that will contribute to the overhead of the county and the one overhead of their precinct.
Two of them disappeared.
You're the man at the Hilton. Orchard
Sanctuary County for Life.
Oh, yeah, right, that's right.
Friday night here.
You'd answer.
Do you know downtown Greer?
Yeah.
Do you know where Presbyterian Church is in downtown Greer? Like the going into Greer from like Highway 14. First Presbyterian Church is on the right before you get to the main street. Oh, okay. The church over there. So Randall Street's kind of behind that. Yeah. Anyway, Randall Street.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I went to the Citadel Friday grad, so I know too many. That was a good one. So we don't have others or precincts, so that's what, you know what, did y'all come to reorg this time? So a precinct reorg that goes on. Are y'all on our email list? Did you sign up? I got the address. Yeah, we We just finished the precinct reorg. We connect you with the people in your precinct, zone, region. So a lot of this is like, how do we expose? You know who your house rep and your county council members are. No, we need to know who they are sooner, and we need to start, how do we hold them accountable with mass numbers? So we have people that call legislators, and we start emailing here. They love it when we just ignore them, and only wake up every 4 years, 2 or 4 years. Yes, okay, all right, and I'm talking to you, kind of seems like Harry's kind of stopped the rhino hunt again.
Does anybody need a Greenville County Republican?
Yeah.